I'm actually looking at an outfielder. I was looking at Shane Victorino because he's one like earlier I mentioned that about me liking guys that can contribute to stolen bases later in the draft, and he's got. I mean, he's going to give you a guaranteed high average, along with 20 stolen bases and a potential 20 home runs, and I think it's hard to pass up in the 11th round.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. He's definitely a solid all-around contributor. I think for a while, like for a lot of years, he was overrated, and now he's a little underrated because he doesn't really like now that he doesn't steal 30 plus bases. He's just more of a bargain. Part of what made him great was that he did the other stuff too. Like he scored a bunch of runs and he hit for a pretty high average. But now that the stolen bases are gone, it kind of depresses. Like anytime like there's a guy who contributes a lot in one category, that tends to be what people focus on. And if they start to tail off in that category, particularly speed, I think people start to disregard those players. I think Coco Crisp is another good example of this, although he did have an insane year last year. But they start to disregard those players because, oh, he's not stealing 40 bases anymore. I don't care about Victorino anymore. But like Victorino still does a lot of other good things too. And so you're in a pretty good spot here. You have a corner infield, middle infield position to fill, and then it's just two utilities, which is best player available. Do you like to fill your utilities with a certain position necessarily, or is it just kind of based upon what your team needs statistically?
It's usually a mix of that. It's usually of what I need and best player available, as well as I like to take a guy with a lot of upside. Usually, like you probably wouldn't see me taking Shane Victorino to fill my last utility spot.
Okay, you want to bank on upside there and try and
I like someone like Chris Davis. I'd be really happy with filling in the back of my utility. Brewers, Chris Davis, seeing that I already have the other Chris Davis.
Just lock it down, just Chris and Chris, Davis and Davis.
Yep.
The Davis Bros.
So this pick, I only have two pitchers right now, and I'm not looking at a relief pitcher yet. I think I can still wait for saves, but I think I'm looking at Shelby Miller for my 12th round pick.
How dare you? I just put him into my queue. No, I really like that pick here. I think he's got a lot of potential. He was really good last year.
Yeah.
As a rookie. I mean, and pitchers tend to be the types of players that if they're good young, that probably just means they're going to be good for a long time. Pending injury, of course. But yeah, Miller's a guy I'm targeting in most of my drafts. I traded him away in a keeper league I play in last year, and I won the league, so it was worth it, but I really wish I had him back now.
I'm hoping Steve isn't going to bogart my pick.
He might. He has a big need at outfield right now, though.
Oh my God.
He did it to you. He did it to both of us. There goes Miller. So now what's your backup plan?
I think I'm still looking at pitcher. I mean, that definitely changes things. Like, before I wasn't even considering batters with Miller there, but I don't think I have a huge need for batters right now, and I like Danny Salazar enough, and I don't think he'd get back around because a lot of people like him this year. So I think I'm going to have to take him here.
Yeah, when those guys start to creep up the rankings, you can't really wait very long on them. Ah, man, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. That Hamels pick really threw me for a loop. Starting to see more pitchers go, though. Danny Salazar, Glenn Perkins, Doug Fister. After the Shelby Miller pick. Are you a Doug Fister fan?
Yeah. No, not just because I'm a Tigers fan, but yeah. I think he's going to give you consistent low ERA. Like, you can bank on him putting up a 3 ERA or even possibly lower. And I think that's something you're not really going to find this late in the draft.
Yeah, that's fair. The move to the National League is a huge boon for him too.
Yeah, it's hard for me to take a guy that doesn't strike out a ton of batters this late in the draft. Usually, I like to take upside with strikeouts, but a low ERA combined with an increase in strikeouts each of the last 2 years really make me like Fister.
Yeah, I'm looking at a pitcher here myself. I've got Johnny Cueto queued up, and I think that's who I'm going to take. Other guys I like here are Singrani, Waka, Buchholz, and Sonny Gray. That's the top of my pitcher rankings. But I don't really care which of those guys I end up with here, but I'm going to take Cueto first, and I might just take another one here, go back-to-back pitchers, and continue to wait on outfield, just because I don't know, none of these guys who are available in this kind of tier are guys I'm interested in, and I'm not really ready to reach for the Norichika Aokis quite yet. But we'll see. I could also take a utility player here, so I shouldn't necessarily ignore like corner infielders and middle infielders. Like Brandon Belt, Matt Adams, even Aramis Ramirez are guys that, could put up pretty good stats and are worth a look here at this point. Billy Butler is still available. I don't know if I mentioned him, but I'm not really a Billy Butler guy.
Yeah. If you need average, he's not bad, but has a lot less power than people first expected when he came into the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about my team's batting average. Not great. I do have like Kinsler's never been a big batting average guy. Neither is Longoria, but they're not total black holes in that category. Jay Bruce might be, but hopefully between Goldschmidt and Hosmer, I can kind of bounce back from a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm looking at corner infielders right now, and I am not. I mean, besides Nolan Arenado right now, there's not a ton of upside sitting there.
Yeah, I was about to take Jose Abreu right before he got taken out from under me, and that makes me wish I had just taken him and taken whichever pitcher came back. He's a guy I am believing in this spring training. So now I'm kind of stuck between taking an outfielder or a pitcher. And I don't know. I don't feel really great about any of the options. I do feel like in general there's more depth at pitcher right now, so I should probably just take an outfielder or a batter in general to kind of fill in my utility spot. And you know how I talked earlier about how talking through picks can maybe make you change your mind about certain players? I'm kind of talking myself into Billy Butler right now as a batting average helper for my team in a spot where I don't have a ton of like good batting average guys. So I don't know. It's either him or a pitcher, and I'm gonna wait on pitchers. I'll take Billy Butler. I can't believe I'm doing this, but this is a weird draft for me, and this might have to do with the fact that I took 2 pitchers early, but it might just be the fact that I was wrong about Billy Butler.
Country breakfast.
Oh man. So all right, a few picks before you come up here. What are you looking at? What's your plan?
I think I'm gonna have to finally take a closer.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You're selling out.
It's the most boring pick for me when you wait a round and a half and you have to get stuck with taking a closer. But if I want to compete in saves at all, I don't think I can wait any longer to take one, because if I take one now, then I don't have to worry about it for another few rounds.
Yeah. It's possible, now that you mention it, that I had completely disregarded the position, and I think that was a mistake. I could have jumped on that train as well and taken a closer. And the guy who was just selected, Jason Grilly, is the guy I would have taken. I think he's at the top of my closer ranks of the available players. But which guys are you looking at here? Who's your top choice of the remaining players?
I'd go with Yahoo's top choice, Soriano. Other than that, actually, I think I'd pick Casey Janssen over Soriano. But I think it would go Casey Janssen then Soriano for me.
Okay. Isn't Janssen nursing some sort of minor injury?
I don't think it's serious, but I could be mistaken. Yeah, he's got soreness. Right now in his shoulder.
The nebulous soreness diagnosis.
Yeah. I might have to go with Soriano then. I was not aware. Apparently, I'm not keeping up on my closer news close enough.
It's because you don't care about closers.
Probably. Yeah, I'm going to pick Soriano here.
It seems like a solid pick. I mean, you're right. Eventually, everybody closers. And as long as you get one or two guys that you don't feel terrible about, I think you're doing okay. So, I mean, and Soriano is a really, really solid choice, I think.
So for this next pick around, I think I'm going to be looking at a infielder, seeing that I have both corner and middle to fill. I'd probably take someone like Kyle Seager here, seeing that I think I have average pretty locked down, but I think I'd rather take a flyer on upside in this particular draft just because I have enough power between, Alvarez, Chris Davis, and I have a lot of 25 home run guys like Matt Holliday and Carlos Beltran. So I think I'm going to take an upside or a flyer on upside with this pick.
And are you not saying it out loud so that Steve doesn't snake you again?
Apparently, he's not snaking me from his comment, but I'm not buying it.
Yeah, you gotta play close to the vest. You gotta be careful. Steve's a slippery character. Getting prepared, taking his time at the wheel here. He still doesn't have a shortstop. He does have a pretty solid start on pitchers with two closers in Kimbrel and Nathan and Clayton Kershaw, and he just took Jared Weaver to go with his final pitcher, Gio Gonzalez. But this is why I like to take offense early, is because I look at this squad and I realize that the pitching is good. But then I look at the offense and I just worry. Like, I just see that shortstop spot just staring back at me. And he took J.J. Hardy, and I guess that's okay. This guy might just be an Orioles fan. He's also got Manny Machado. Probably not, though. I see this lineup and I feel like I can poke it full of holes. Like the two catcher strategy, Posey and Santana, I don't buy that. I told you I'm not an Alex Gordon guy. Curtis Granderson, I mean, he's actually, I think, a little undervalued coming into this season based upon his track record. But yeah, I don't know. This team doesn't scream winner to me, even with Kershaw. And I think that's the risk in taking Kershaw in the first round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this live stream is just throwing me off my game right now. My team is just completely different than what I usually go with, just player-wise. The only person on my team that I think I've had in other mock drafts has been Rosario and Brown. And Tehran.